This Rick Ross and Rory and Mal beef just got out of hand very fast. So the beef started when Rory and Mal came on their podcast and essentially reacted to Rick Ross doing these interviews and these recent tours where he's talking about Drake and he's saying he don't got no problem with Drake and he wished Drake well and he hoped Drake's rise above everything. And Rory and Mal, just like the rest of the world, thought that was weird given the circumstances of the last year and a half.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yo, I've been wondering the whole time, why the hell is Rick Ross and Drake beefing in the first place? Me and my brother talked about this yesterday. I know Drake would have been like, yo, this is so goddamn weird. Why? I thought we was cool. It was even a point when Drake said that his mom called him and said that he heard something about Rick Ross dissing him, and she had actually met him, and Rick Ross even confirmed that. And she's like, honey, why's that Ross guy giving you such a hard time? I thought you guys were friends. No new friends.
The rest of the world thought that was weird given the circumstances of the last year and a half.
Drake, if you listening to this, homie, listen to me. My shine. I don't want to see you lose. No real want to see you lose. That ain't what about. This culture, this game, this rap. This ain't what it's about. I don't want to see you lose. Real just want to see real shine together. Real come up together. You understand? When I was the number one in the rap game, I showed love. When French was on fire, he showed love.
Can we finally admit that Rick Ross is weird?
Why? Why do you say that?
And I know this is
you saying finally admit like we've been like holding that in. Like what you mean finally admit? Like,
well, we did talk about this in the beginning after the Like That thing and then 20v1 started. And I know we are the Drake Bias podcast, but I'm speaking from a very objective place. We didn't put enough light into how weird it was that Rick Ross entered into that rap beef.
And they didn't come to this conclusion.
Exactly. I'm not the only person that thought that.
Until after the Rick Ross and French Montana press tour. When Rick Ross entered into this Drake and Kendrick beef for no reason whatsoever, Rick Ross blamed it on a Drake and French Montana issue. So Kendrick Lamar is dissing Drake. Rick Ross hopped in and dropped a diss track on Drake too for no reason whatsoever. And he claims he hates Drake because Drake apparently didn't clear a record for French Montana.
Oh yeah, he was saying something. He, if I remember it clearly, he didn't say it very clearly. He didn't. He left a little vague. He's like, yeah, my man's French Montana. You don't fuck with him. You don't fuck with them all. A bunch of other Rick Rossisms.
Now they're doing this press tour, and Ross is sitting next to French, and French is saying, I never felt no way.
Right, because it's also French who he said told him to squash the beef. Something about when they were doing the verses, he was like, yo, we can't get this shit going with you still beefing with Drakey.
About Drake not clearing that record. I never had no beef with it. So now Rick Ross is kind of forced to now change his tone to, nah, it ain't never been no beef with Drake. You know, it's always just competition. So Rory and Mal is justified for saying, okay, so if y'all never had no real issues,
and y'all made hit records together,
French Montana and Drake never had no real issues, then why did Rick Ross enter into this beef again outside of clout chasing? And now they're calling him weird for it.
Yes, what did you have to, like, why are you in this whole thing? And then you came up with an excuse that it was because Drake didn't clear his verse for French Montana's album, which made all the sense in the world because everyone was waiting for Drake to say something in the biggest moment, and it wasn't about to be a verse he did 10 months ago. Mm-hmm. And then French Montana is sitting next to him going like, I was fine with it. Mm-hmm. So what the are you doing, Rick Ross? But you're finding any way to just get in this, and now you're telling, yo, I want to see you win, homie. Shut up. Shut up. He's one of my favorite rappers. He's hilarious. His discography is incredible. But that's some weirdo, like that's super weird.
Yeah.
I want to see you win, little homie. We all want to see you win. We don't want you to lose, little homie. We all want you to win. We want you to win, white boy. White boy. We want you to win, isn't it? We want you to win, boy.
Is that not weird?
We knew what that was in the moment, though. We said that. We said it was weird for him to do that. We said he was trying to capitalize at the moment. He shot a video for the song with a bunch of Bel Air around him. Like, people were trying to capitalize in the moment. Like, we knew what that was. We knew what that moment.
Okay.
It was a moment.
No,
people were trying to capitalize.
The thing. Even if it's petty reasons, I understand the Metro thing, and there's women involved, Weekend, there's exes involved, and maybe Drake someone's baby mother, or there's some slimy going on with women, because that's usually how things get to this point. Rick Ross said, "Oh, he didn't clear a verse for French, so I'm in this now." After he gave me all my number one records.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like that.
Is that true? All of Ross's number one records came through Drake? I ain't gonna say all of them, but past when he first came out and he was on top of the game, Drake probably kept him floating. Honestly, I think Ross probably mad right now that he can't be part of the wave. Future got on it. Future was kind of he kind of switched sides. How did Future get back into Drake's good graces?
Everyone else, I understood why, even if it wasn't a great reason, I understood why the 20v1 existed and everything in the history with Drake and certain artists. Rick Ross, who's his mans, just entered into that beef because he wanted to. I guess I'm saying it was called out, but it wasn't highlighted enough in that whole thing of why is Rick Ross doing this.
We're so far removed from that era, so I don't blame y'all if y'all forgot, because that era took place in 2024. The Drake and Kendrick beef happened in 2024. We're 2+ years removed.
That's crazy.
But when you go and put yourself back in that era, you really got to say, yo, what happened to Drake is nasty, man. That was one of the nastiest, worst moments of hip hop. People were waking up. People who had relationships with Drake, people who Drake had given a lot to and never did nothing. They woke up and said, hey, man, the world is going against Drake. All right, I can get a moment right now. If I go at Drake, I'm going to take that moment, even though Drake did nothing to me.
Well, people felt like they had to pick a side. Just like Khaled kind of stayed out of it. You see what happened to him. So niggas had to pick a side. Maybe Ross is hoping that Kendrick was going to throw him a bone.
And if you put yourself in Drake's shoes, you can't help but feel bad for the guy, bruh. People who you thought you was day ones with, who you been in this game with for 10+ years, who you really had they backstabbed you for a moment because they thought it was over for you. They thought this was your funeral and there will be no repercussions and no consequences for going at you. Now we know, that was a bad judgment because now Drake is back on top.
And, shout out to Drake because now he knows who's who. And to be honest with you, I listened to the record. I'm a little old, so it ain't really excite me. I try to listen to for one or two somethings that really, really caught my ear. I wait and see if there's a breakout single, but that was a whole lot of music to try to go through. But anyway, my point is now, specifically, if you have fulfilled your contractual obligations that you've had with the record label, you wanted to be out of the deal. Now you can go double, triple hard and shit on these niggas. Make some new stars. Because a lot of the dudes that flipped on you were only allowed to become as big as they were by standing in the light of Drake. And I'm not necessarily a Drake fan, but it just is what it is. Like you said, I don't know if it's true, but I know more than one or two of Rick's number one hits came through Drake. So here we go.
And the worst part about it is the people who went out of their way to pick a fuss or pick a beef with Drake during that moment is now escalating the beef with Drake after Drake said, I don't rock with you. That's like somebody doing you filthy and doing you dirty.
And they're mad at you about not loving it.
For no reason whatsoever. And then you say, I don't like you, it's cool, F you. And now they're acting like you did them wrong. Now they're escalating the beef to heights because you said, I don't rock with you, and you're responding back to them doing you wrong. If you're the initiator of the beef, you can't act like I did you wrong when I respond. Rick Ross is online hating on Drake's new album because Drake didn't take the bait and squash the beef when he went on his little press tour saying, Drake, I want you to win, bro. It's all love. Drake ain't take that bait, and now he's acting like Drake did him wrong.
R.I.P. to the Drake stands. Can only imagine what that feels like. Well, I really couldn't. But for those that didn't know, I was a big boy making big boy records when homie was on Degrassi. Now, back to the Big business.
Rick Ross actually heard what Rory and Mal had to say about him because Rick Ross is chronically online. And when Drake dropped his album and he heard the subliminals that Drake threw at him, Rick Ross took to social media to first off diss the Drake album, but also diss Rory and Mal and say things to Rory and Mal that no grown man should ever say to another grown man.
Bars. Say 3 albums are trash albums, 2 years too late. What site is this? Complex? The Glazer University. Oh my God. I've been a long fan. Oh my God. Mr. YouTube. Big 3 anyway. There was too many chefs in the kitchen. Bars. Come on, guys. Stop. Y'all gotta, let's all leave little man's alone now, man. He did it. He dropped 3 mid projects. Hey, man, it was fun while it lasted. You're washed. It's a beautiful morning, perfect time to feed yourself the knowledge. The knowledge. What's that? Rory and Mal, get off your knees.
Damn.
Get the testicles out of your mouth now. I don't know what.
Why people always gotta go to something like that as try to be ultimate disrespect? Always invite somebody to the Johnson. Like, that's not, I don't know. It's just the way we came up. That's not even an option. That's all. That look bad on you, actually, if you ask me.
Which one, the white one or the black one? Y'all both the same. Rory Mal, the Glazers. The Glazers. How y'all feel now? You know, Drake just committed.
You try to call him Bert and Ernie.
I'm sure retire next month. How is this lawsuit doing? How is the Drake University lawsuit coming?
This is uncharted territories for Rory and Mal. I could name a bunch of content creators that Rory and Mal has gone back and forth with, and outside of Joe Budden, if he still counts as a rapper, I can't recall another rapper that Rory and Mal has gone to war with. Like, they don't really beef with rappers. They don't really like go back and forth or disrespect rappers or people on their platform. However, when Rick Ross go this far, you gotta go below the belt as well. So they recruited the help from Zip with the Drip, which is, you know, a New York podcaster who's tied to 50 Cent. Rick Ross and 50 got age-old beef. And they essentially went at Rick Ross's neck, man. Now, Zip with the Drip primarily went at Rick Ross's neck, but Rick Ross will still...
I ain't up on him. Zip with the Drip. Tell me about him, y'all.
We'll take this offense as a Rory and Mal going at his neck, even though Zip with the Drip was the one who made the most flagrant offenses towards Rick Ross.
I thought Zip had already saw that Ross said he was talking about something else with Ross.
Yeah, don't
and I was
never
like,
say no. Show Ross.
I was like, nah, it's
Yo,
fine,
Ross,
bro.
show Ross.
I said, it's
I
fine,
don't
it's
know
fine,
if
bro.
you know this or not, but I'm passionate with these. Right? So if you ever say some like that again about some dick sucking, I'm saying we're gonna talk about how many dicks you saw as a correction officer, because that's your job to look at dicks and nuts and all of that.
Wow.
You did that. We not gonna.
He was the cougher. He's one to like tell you cough. Turn around, say ooh. Bend down, squat.
We talking about dick suckers when you done saw more dicks than the average man in this world. Like, there's not too many men on the planet Earth that saw more dicks than you as a
That's true. That's kind of like the job description of a correctional officer. Dick, butthole, nuts, watcher. That's your job.
correction officer. Let's get that out the way. You had the strip search. You looked at the balls. You made it separate the dick from the balls. You made it turn around and spread his ass open. You did that as a correction officer. You signed up for that. So we're not going to be talking about no imaginary dick suckers when you really did like that. Like, you saw more dicks than the average porn star in 1 year. 1 year working, you saw more dicks than the average porn star. Get the out of here. I'll never say no like that to none of my get out of here. You was taking urines? You was the urine test?
Not the urinalysis. They call those the dick watchers. He's on a dick watch squad. He wanted it too. He's like, God, can I get dick? We want you to win. We don't want you to lose. We want you to wee. We don't want you to lose. We want you to wee. Piss in that cup. We want all the piss in the cup.
Huh? How many dicks you saw doing that?
Oh man.
You used to come take.
Yo, Zip.
Nah, let me cook a little bit. Let me cook a little bit. Let me cook a little bit. Yo, you ever took the urine? They ever gave you that job, Rick Ross? While you was a CO, they ever gave you that job, the urines? Like you ever took the urines? Like you ever had to watch pee in that cup? Huh? You ever had to watch Soft put his wee in the cup and pee and make sure he don't put nothing in it? Huh? You ever had to do that, Rick Ross? Huh? Don't make my mans no imaginary dick eaters when you maybe in your job had to watch the flaccid wee in a cup and pee in it. Watch your mouth. Respect my like don't do no that no
Yo,
more.
after you say he had to do cavity checks, I look at the title Port of Miami way different.
Right, you had to do cavity.
Holy shit.
You a CO.
If y'all are not familiar with who Zip with the Drip is, do your homework. Yo, Zip is hilarious, bro. Yo, I follow Zip on Instagram for a while now. I tap into his YouTube channel like here and there. He's like, I guess, the newest addition to Rory and Mal, which I think he's a great addition. Zip is hilarious. My only advice to Zip would be if I didn't know that Zip was linked to 50 Cent. My advice to him was, you don't ever want to jump off the cliff for your employer, right? If your employer got beef with somebody in the industry, let them handle that beef. You don't jump off the cliff, right? Because eventually these industry dudes are back and forth from wishy-washy, right? These industry dudes are going to be friends at some point. So I wouldn't jump off the cliff for my employer.
Right, because then you left out there looking crazy. Memphis Bleak still want to be friends with Nas. He like, I like Nas.
If I was Zip with the Drip, right? Even though I do believe that Rory and Mal are loyal and they would like make sure that Zip and Ross issues are good. If Zip, like burn his bridges with Ross because of them, right? Now, if Ross would have responded back to this, Ross would have been the dumbest person on the planet. But Ross got some brains to him. So Ross did respond, but not directly to Zip with the Drip. Ross decided he was going to attack Mal's family, more specifically Mal's brother, right? Because he believes that Mal's brother and Mal, I guess, are
I don't know about Mal brother. What's going on with him?
the most notable figures and the lit ones that are worth his time, opposed to responding back to Zip with the Drip, right? Who would love that response, by the way, because Zip would have made 100,000 on YouTube if Ross would have responded directly to him. So Ross dropped this video that I believe crossed the line because now, like, Rick Ross is involving family members.
Rory and Mally. I see why Joe Buttons fired you losers. You on the equity. How dare you minions. Everybody log into Joe Buttons. Now Rory and Mally and let Biggs Burt know the boss waiting for him to come kiss the ring. Minions. Losers. Biggs' brother was Biggs' brother sucking on the dicks of his Biggs' brother.
God damn.
Rory and Mal.
Yo, it's a lot of fucking ding ding play in this. What is going on? A lot of sausage. Title of this video should have been sausage spaghetti.